You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Red state Republican breaks with Trump over huge mistake after Supreme Court ruling. Based on an article by Thomas Keeker. The court greenlit the cruelty, the administration will own it. A sliver of dissent, not a correction. The source story treats Rep. Follows Giménez's criticism as a Republican break with Trump. That is a flimsy frame. One Republican warning that deporting Haitians would be a huge mistake does not change the governing fact the Trump administration pursued the policy. The Supreme Court cleared the way, and the federal government now has roughly 350,000 Haitians in the U.S. exposed to deportation after stripping their work authorization. This is not confusion, it is a chosen outcome. Who has the power? The actual institutional power sits with the administration and the court that made the policy legible and enforceable. Trump's immigration apparatus set the direction. The Supreme Court removed a barrier. DHS then moved against people protected by TPS. That is a chain of command. Giménez can object on television. He does not control the machinery. Markwayne Mullin can go on CNN and recite a bureaucratic morality tale about people who supposedly failed to apply for a visa. None of that changes who holds the lever and who gets pushed off the platform. Misdirection as policy. Mullin's claim is the familiar inversion. The people made precarious by the state are blamed for not escaping precarity fast enough. That is not an explanation. It is camouflage for state violence. TPS exists because some countries are too unstable, too shattered, or too dangerous to absorb deportees. The source says Haiti remains trapped in a severe humanitarian crisis marked by earthquakes, political collapse, and gang governance. To pretend this is a paperwork failure by migrants is to erase the entire point of the protection. Haiti is a disposable population. The policy logic here is brutally simple. If a country has been broken, the U.S. can still pretend the brokenness is irrelevant once the bureaucracy wants people gone. Giménez at least acknowledges the reality that the administration is trying to outrun. Haiti is not a normal deportation destination. The source itself names a failed state, the assassination of Jovenel Moïse, a major earthquake, and near-total gang governance. Deportation under those conditions is not neutral enforcement. It is the federal government outsourcing risk to the people it once admitted were in danger. The real story is institutional cowardice. What matters here is not that a few Republicans are uneasy. It is that the party machinery, the executive branch, and the court system all make room for cruelty while leaving themselves rhetorical exits. They call it temporary. They call it status. They call it the immigrant's responsibility to fix a disaster the state itself recognizes. That is the pattern of humane language upstream, punitive outcomes downstream, and blame shifted onto the people least able to absorb it. The system speaks clearly. This story is about a familiar American trick. Federal power creates vulnerability, then demands gratitude for the paperwork that once delayed the harm. When the delay expires, the same institutions pretend the ensuing punishment is the migrant's own failure. The lesson it is not that one Republican found a conscience on Sunday television. The lesson is that the state can recognize catastrophe, name it in public, and still choose deportation anyway. That is not administrative confusion. It is policy discipline. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Kristen, thanks for listening.